Good morning, everyone. Can everyone hear me good? Yep.
I can hear you.
Okay, just checking. I just wanted to be sure that I'm very audible. So let's give it like few minutes for others to join us, and then we're going to get the ball rolling. So we want to wait about 5 more minutes for others to join us, and then we're going to get started. All right, we are right on time, 10 minutes past 10 right now. We can go ahead and get started. Can everyone hear me good? If you can hear me, just say, uh-huh, uh-huh. All right, I think at least that is okay for me. Yeah, good morning, everyone. And if your time your time is different from mine, maybe good afternoon or good evening. I really want to welcome you to this exceptional webinar, which is focused on transitioning into cybersecurity career or into a new career, actually. So whether you are seeking a fresh start when it has to do with career, or you're trying to upskill to a desired role, or you're trying to pivot due to external circumstances or change that may actually impress on your heart, the essential component of our career journey is change, right? So today we are going to be talking about the needed requirements for you to make a successful career change. So this change might be very, very exciting, but it can also bring along with it a share of some uncertainties, some apprehensions, right? So it is in this transformative moment that we find ourselves that actually bring us to the point of sharing the knowledge, experiences, and some strategies that we need for us to make the transition smoother and more effective for us into our own desired career. So today we're going to be focusing more on the cybersecurity. However, whatever we're learning today will definitely help us, to transition into any other career of our choice. So the strategies that we're going to be discussing today is not restrictive. It's not restricted only to those that want to transition into the field of cybersecurity, but it is something that can be used in you transitioning into any other field at all. So today, our objective for this webinar is to provide you with actionable insights, tools, and the encouragement that you need for you to navigate through your own career transition. So I will be your host today. So as we embark on this enlightening journey together, I want to encourage each and every one of you, to stay engaged, throughout this webinar. If you have any question, we're going to open it up to the question and answer time. So if you have any question, we'll be able to attend to your question. Also, you can utilize the chat features in the Zoom and post your question. During the question and answer time, I will swing into the chat room and attend to any question that you may have. So for right now, I just like for you to sit back, stay focused, and we want to delve into career transition. We want to have a very good conversation about this transitioning. However, before we proceed, I just want to play like 1 minute video that will give you a brief information about myself as your host today. Okay. I am Olukade Oshilaja, a subject matter expert in the field of cybersecurity. My role as a consultant cut across every aspect of cybersecurity, which include compliance, operation, and cloud security. Cybersecurity is very lucrative, and compliance is a safe landing for anyone that is willing to transition from non-IT role into cybersecurity. As a mentor and a trainer, I've helped a lot of people successfully transition from non-IT role into cybersecurity. For more information about our training, please follow the information on the screen. Thank you. All right, so that's just a brief information about myself. I will be your host today, and then let's get this thing started. Now, about this webinar, today we want to look at the career change and the requirements. That's the first thing we want to look at, and also we're going to be looking at the relevant information that you need to make a successful career decision, which is a very, very important thing for everyone. We're also going to look at cybersecurity and all that you need to know about that. And at the end of the day, we're going to be wrapping it up with the information, our involvement, improving academy to help students transition into the field of cybersecurity. So without much ado, we just want to go ahead and talk about where everything starts. The beginning of everything. Everything has a beginning. They have a starting point. They have what we call genesis. They have inception. And the good news is that for any career change, it starts from us. It starts within us. It starts with you, right? So the journey into a new career begins with you. Now it begins where you are, and it also begins with what you have. So wherever you find yourself in the scope of things, you can begin. And they said uh, as a man thinks in his heart, so is he. So your thoughts transitions into something bigger. So do not transition any do not trivialize any desire for you to make a change at any point of your life. Recently, I'm going through a book called Doubt, right? Talking about doubt, that every human being will get to a point in our life that we begin to question some of those things, the legacy thoughts or information that we have received in time past. That at that time, it's not like we are second guessing ourselves, but it's at that point that we want to utilize our doubts. We want to leverage that information. Do not sweep it under the carpet, but rather dwell on that one to be able to get the light that you need to to forge ahead, especially when it has to do with your career. Why do I bring that in? Many of us, we probably transitioned or migrated into this environment that you find yourself, and wherever you're coming from, probably you have a particular career that you have been following, that you have, some have even gotten to the peak of their career, but yet they find out that there is still some inner desire in their life because times are changing, right? That people begin to see, I can do more, because the way our creator create every human being, he put in us the desire to crave for more, right? So maybe that's what actually brought about your own desire to transition into the field that you consider as the one that will sustain your thought, your desire, or what you begin to consider as a new career right now. So that's why we say the human power has the capacity to adapt and to change. So the only thing that human being cannot do are the things that they cannot imagine, right? Or you cannot comprehend. Because it said that nothing can be restrained from human being as long as they can imagine that. So do not play down your imagination. We are here. Probably you are at that point in your life that you feel like you want to actually get to know what is it about this cybersecurity. Everybody is going crazy about this thing. It's a starting point for you, and that is why we put together this webinar campaigning, educating, mobilizing people, as you may consider that, to see that cybersecurity is not something that is unreachable, unattainable, or something, but we want to give you the necessary information that will help you to make a gainful career decision. So every human being, we have the capacity in us, the ability in us to make a change that we want, okay? So now let's start from the major tool sets that we need to make a career change. In this tool set, we have skill set and also the mindset. Now, in the order of priority, I will consider a mindset to be more important than the skill set, but let's talk about what skill set is. Skill set is a collection of skills, ability that can be applied to a professional or creative endeavor. That is skill set. And when you think about skill set, you can think about what can you do to make a particular thing work for you, right? When it has to do with skill sets, you have to study to acquire the skill set, right? Or you pay somebody to teach you about how to use a particular tool, right? So skill set is very, very important. And that's what actually give birth to trainings. Many of us will go into boot camp to learn about particular tool or a particular skills, and then you begin to market the skills that you acquire, that you paid, to acquire, right? So it's also important that while we are putting together the skill sets, we should not underestimate the place of mindset. Mindset is the way we think that determine the way we behave, right? It can also, it has a component called the motive. So many people, for example, the motive of changing career is because of to make more money, right? It's not a bad idea. Or the purpose of changing career might be, maybe to have the work-life balance due to your competing priorities. You felt like changing into this particular career will give you the flexibility that you need in this phase of your life, right? So, and whichever way that you may consider your motive to be, we cannot underestimate the place of our mindset, our mental attitude, right? Which is very, very important, right? So that's why we say that skill set can be acquired, but mindset must be cultivated. So you have to cultivate the mindset that will help you and support you in your journey into this new career that you are going into. That is very, very important. And I will tell you the reason why it's important is because, number one, whichever career that you want to go into, for example, they come with their fears and trepidation, their challenges as well. So it is not just only your end goal that you are focused on. What about some of those challenging moments, or what we call a plateau state, right? So how do you handle that is very important, because your your mindset will determine the energy that you need to make it to the end, to achieve the goal eventually. As a mentor and as a trainer, I've trained a lot of people for over 6, 7 years that have been training. And I've seen a lot of things, right, in the life of everyone that I've considered as my mentee, right? And I'm speaking from a very good standpoint to let you know that mindset is very important. And we're going to still deal more on this subject of mindset in the next few slides. So, which means if success, right, is our focus to make a career change, if success, we want to be successful in that thing, guess what? It is important for you to ensure that your mindset and the skill sets, they make a very good combination. That is, you have the right mindset and then you acquire the right skill set. That is what will make you or transition into a successful career for you. I want to share a little story about myself, because when I came into United States many years ago, I came in with that desire that this IT thing, that is what I want to do, right? I came in from United Kingdom, right? I had my BSc in networking support IT. I say, oh yeah, coming into United States, oh yeah, they support, they encourage this IT thing. And coming in here, guess what? I was stalled for about 3 years. I was doing a job that has nothing to do with IT. But every suggestions that came to me as why not try this, why not try that, I did not see myself fit into any other thing than this thing that I already had in mind. So despite the fact I didn't have a lot of encouraging or mentors around me, I had to like bury myself into reading more and learning more about what I consider as my career. Despite the fact that challenging times, I couldn't even meet up with some of my this, but I still kept on going, reading more, learning more, went back to school, still focused on what I considered as my career. So eventually, when I came into this field, I look back, I said, nobody should ever struggle the way I struggle to get to where I desire to be. You know, nobody should ever struggle under my watch. If I know you and you want to make a career change, I want to support, right? And that's what actually, that's my passion, that's my desire, right? That to make a difference in the life of people that want to make a career change. And I'm not fully there yet, but at least I have mentored a lot of people from non-IT role into the field of cybersecurity, even to other fields as well. Okay, because myself is not just only to market about cybersecurity, but also to encourage people that they are meant for more. You are created for more. You know, there's nothing more discouraging than you have a lot of capacity in you, but you are trapped in a bottle, or you are restricted because you are only focused on one particular thing, or people have misguided you, and then you're still not finding the fulfillment that you need in your life, right? So on that note, I want to introduce a lady to us. She's going to speak to us for about a few minutes. She wants to talk about some very, very important thing. I just want you to make sure you pay attention to what she's saying. At the end of that video, we're going to come back and give an analysis of what she talked about and what lesson we can learn from what she is telling us. All right, and then from there we're going to move to the next slide. So I'm going to pause my video and then play our own video, and then we're going to get started with that.
There are 3 types of people in this world. Watch this video to find out which one of the types of people you are and what that means for you. So the first type of person is called a stressor. The stress is determined. The stressor wants to get to this goal. They start taking action, they start moving towards their goal, they start saying, okay, yeah, I'm getting closer. And then at some point, they hit what we call a plateau. So what do they do in order to move to the plateau? They stress out. They literally go, oh my God, okay, how do I do this? Should I try this? Okay, maybe I try this. Okay, let me try this way. Okay, everyone else, get out of my way. Eventually, they have a breakthrough. So they're off again and they're off on their journey and they're working really hard until eventually they hit another plateau. They repeat the pattern and they continue to stress out. Now, the good thing about the stressor is that they have a lot of perseverance often, so they do actually achieve their goal. Yet, if you're a stressor and you're seeing this pattern within yourself right now, ask yourself, is this really the most sustainable way to live your life? So the next type of person is called the dabbler. And so just like everyone else, the dabbler takes massive action and off they go. They start going for it, they start getting closer to their goal, and then eventually what happens? They hit a plateau. Now, here's the thing, the dabbler does something a little bit different to the stressor. The dabbler gives up. And the dabbler says, you know what? This actually wasn't for me. That's not my thing. I didn't really want that goal. You know what? I'm gonna try this other thing over here. And so they start something new. And off they go and they start something new and they're working towards their goal, and then eventually they hit a plateau. What happens? The dabbler says, well, that wasn't my thing either. In fact, watch me do this. I'm gonna make it like this. Here we go. And they start out and they start doing this new thing, and you see how the pattern keeps repeating. Now, the sad thing about the dabbler is that often they don't actually achieve their big goals because they're constantly restarting something new in a hope that maybe one day they'll make it. And then there's a third type of person. This type of person is called an achiever. And this person does something quite different to the stressor and quite different to the dabbler. So the achiever starts off and they start taking massive action, and off they go, they're moving closer towards their goal, and then what happens? You know the story. They hit a plateau. Now, what's different about the achiever is that they do not stress out at this point in time, and they definitely do not give up. The achiever does something different here. Step number 1, the achiever firstly stops. They stop. Secondly, they reconnect with why they want to get to this big goal. It's in those moments of the plateau that they reconnect to the big reason that's actually driving them to the goal. Step number 3 is that the stressor finds someone who has either gone through this plateau or who has helped someone go through this plateau before. And when they find that person, they tell them, look, I'm going through this plateau right now and it's hard and I'm struggling and I'm overwhelmed. And that person, that mentor, that coach who's been through that before says to them, oh, listen, achiever, I remember that plateau. Here's what you need to do. Stop doing this, start doing this, stop doing this, start doing this. The achiever says, thank you so much. And they go and they take action and off they go and they get closer to their goal. And then what happens? Just like every other human, they hit a plateau. But once again, they follow the steps of the achiever instead of stressing out and instead of giving up. And what this means is that the achiever not only reaches their big goal, they do it with ease. So the big difference between the achiever and then the other types of people is simply that the achiever follows in the footsteps of the people who've been there before. I know for many of you, you've maybe associated with being the stressor or being the dabbler. And I want you to know that people are not their behavior. People are not their behavior, and you have a choice right now as to which type of person you choose to become. So if you're choosing right now from this moment to become an achiever, comment below and let me know that you're committed to being an achiever in this world.
All right. Welcome back, everyone. Now, what this lady talked about, right? She talked about 3 different people. She talked about a stressor, a dabbler, and also an achiever. Now, can somebody please, you can unmute yourself. What can you see as the similarities and the differences between these three people? You know, or what did you hear? I just want to hear a feedback at this point. What can you say the three of them have in common, and what do they have? How do they handle challenges that they face? Anyone? Anyone? Okay, I'm going to take it away, right? So one thing that they all have in common is that they have similar starting point, right? And the starting point is that they have a desire to succeed. And then they identify how to start and how to chart their way into their desire, right? They have similar starting point. And that could be three friends. Oh, yeah, we want to go into this particular career. What can we do? Okay, let's go into training, and we did a training, right? So they have similar starting point. Another thing that they have in common is that all three of them, they face challenges along their way to their destination, right? As they are journeying into a new career, they face challenges. That's what we call a plateau. As a mentor and a trainer, I've considered the plateau as a time after somebody have gone through the training and you started pushing out the resume, you started going for interview and things like that, and it seems as if you are pushing more you are pushing out more resume, but you're not getting corresponding result, or you are going for more interview, but you're not being called back. It brings discouragement sometimes, right? So that could be a plateau, and nobody determine how long it's going to take you from the starting point to getting to your destination. The only thing you can manage is how you handle the challenges along the way. Okay, so how three of them handle the challenges actually was the one that made the difference, because with regards to the stressor, I mean, he made it eventually, but he had to struggle on his own, right? I would consider myself coming into the career as a stressor because I didn't have a mentor at that time, right? So now, but the last thing I didn't do is to be a dabbler. That is, this is what I want to do. I invested in that. Oh, it's not the way again. Let me go and do something else, right? Because I've seen people also, hey, yeah, Epic is the right thing. There's nothing wrong in any of this career, honestly, right? But you consider that, okay, the career that you want to go into now is this particular one. Let's say Epic, for example, or database administrator, right? You put in training and many, so you had earned money into that, you hours of learning and studying, and because it's not producing the result as you thought it should produce, guess what? You quit that, and then you moved into a new career entirely. And then after you moved into that one, you find out that, oh yeah, this is not, oh, it's not working again. Now you move, you keep dabbling into one thing on another. At the end of the day, you may not achieve the success, right? So the third person she talked about was an achiever. That is, she faced the challenges just like other people, but the way she handled, or he or she handled that situation was different. You stop, you analyze, you identify a mentor, and somebody guided you as to what you need to do, and then you try that process, and then you keep applying until you get there. You are resilient. That is very, very important. So the success, if success is anything you want to worry about, I want you to be an achiever, right? And as you do this, I believe you are going to be successful All right. So now let's talk about the cybersecurity mentoring program, right? We want to consider a few objectives. This objective, was based on certain questions that people have. So I believe that as we go through some of these objectives, some of the questions that you have would be answered. Okay. Now we want to talk about what about the cybersecurity skills? What is the need for me? If I have these skills, what does it mean for me? Okay, what is cybersecurity? Is cybersecurity actually a career or a job? I've heard of people that say, you know what, this is the career I'm doing, but I just want to do this training so that I can, if I get a job part-time in cybersecurity, I can. Cybersecurity is a full-time job, basically, so it's a career, right? So that is important. We'll be able to answer that. Then there are so many domains in the field of cybersecurity. We're going to talk about those one, the shortage in cybersecurity career pathways. We're going to look at that, and then we switch role also, looking at what are the employer looking for you when you have these skill sets, okay? And how do you leverage their job description, to sell as your own selling point, and that kind of expedites your journey into a new career. We talk about some of these things, and then we're going to learn so many things. So what about cybersecurity skill? What is it about this thing? Everybody is going crazy about you go into cybersecurity, and what is it actually about cybersecurity? When you have the cybersecurity skills, number one thing that I know for sure is that you will have jobs, right? And also, you can work in the field of cybersecurity even without a degree. Either you have degree in IT or in cybersecurity, or you have degree in anything, or you don't even have degree at all, right? You can still work in the field of cybersecurity, right? There are some careers that you cannot even function in. You can't even be considered for an interview without you, going to school and acquiring the skill set and the degree in that field before you work there. But when it comes to cybersecurity, degree is not emphasized. Although degree is important, if you have it, if you can have it, why not? But coming into the field of cybersecurity, you really don't need a cybersecurity degree to change in there. So which means you can come into this field as you are. That's why I say that transitioning into this career begins with you, with what you have from where you are. And when you have this skill, you can work in any industry. Your skills are valued across the world, and the compensation are very good. The work-life balance is also very flexible. So when you have the cybersecurity skill, these are the things that you are going to experience, right? There are so many career that if you are certified in a particular country, it's restrictive. It restricts you to that particular geographical location, right? If you are transitioning or migrating to another geographical location, you have to do a corresponding exam to kind of certify you and recertify you to work in that particular geographical location. But when it has to do with cybersecurity, that is not. So that's why we said your skills are valued all across the world. You can be a cybersecurity person in North America or from Africa and then come back here and still continue what you are doing, right? Without any, without much effort from your end, all right? So that's that about the cybersecurity skill. But now, what is cybersecurity actually? What is it? I mean, if you want to define cybersecurity, what can you say the definition is? I'll give you just two definitions of cybersecurity. The first one is the practice of protecting data in any form from unauthorized access, modification, or deletion. So, which means data could exist in any form. It could exist in form of text, video, audio, or what have you, right? So, and in any form that this data exists, you want to protect that data, because there are so many competing stuff that want to kind of modify those information or tamper with the integrity. So the practice of protecting data, that is cybersecurity, or we can say is a technique of preventing system, network, programs, and application from digital attacks. That is cybersecurity, right? Okay. Then, is cybersecurity a career or a job? Right off the bat, I will tell you, like I said before, cybersecurity is a career, it is not a job. And what's the difference between a career and a job, right? So, according to J.D. Roth, he said that a job is what you do simply to earn money, right? But a career is a series of connected employment opportunities. He also said that job has minimal impact on your future work life, while career provides experience and learning that fuel your future. So that's to give you a little bit of insight into what the difference is between what you consider a career or a job. Job is something that you do. If you don't show up at work, you will not eat, and it's per day kind of thing. But when we talk about career, it provides you with so many employment opportunities. Okay, it has some focused skill sets to work in that particular field. It's not a generalized skill set. Everyone can drive, right? Majority of people can drive. So if you transition this general skill set into something that brings in money for you, you can consider that one as a job, because what gave you the leverage is the generalized skill set that you have. But when it has to do with certain things that require certain tools to perform certain function and to achieve a particular result, now you need a focus skill. That's what career is. It gives you it shows you how to leverage a particular skills to achieve a particular result, right? So now that's what J.D. Roth said. But now let's look at cybersecurity domains. Now, we have so many domains in the field of cybersecurity. Now, if you pay attention, I've been using the word field of cybersecurity. And when you think about field looks like what we are seeing on the screen. I've not been to desert before, right? But I researched a little about wilderness or about deserts. Desert is a place that anywhere you face will land you in a particular destination, right? Everywhere you look like the way, right? So in that particular environment, if you have a particular destination in mind and you need to journey through a desert, guess what you need at that point? You cannot just afford to just hop into the wilderness or desert and say you are going to this particular thing. You need a compass, right? A compass, a mental compass, a particular destination in mind So now coming into the field of cybersecurity is also like that, right? You're coming into a desert place or wilderness, as you may uh, consider that, in which you have to first determine which direction are you going. If you are able to have that in mind, now you need a compass to navigate yourself to the place that you have dreamed of, right? So that's why we say any direction you face in the field of cybersecurity will land you into a particular career. But now you want to stop and pause and ponder, ruminate, analyze. What is your skill set? I will tell you number one thing that, and I believe everyone can agree with me on that, right? Is that when you think about cybersecurity, people think about coding, programming. And now many of us, we have been traumatized, right, by the word programming growing up, depending on where you find yourself, right? Especially for people that, probably schooled in some part of the world, developing countries, right? You probably, I think I started my career from one of these developing countries. I believe you can guess what that is, right? In which they made programming a torture for you. They will tell you Fortran, C++, you have to la cram, la pour. So with that, it has damaged a lot of people's desire to learn something about that thing because we are forced to do that. So many people, after going through that, they vowed never to have anything to do with programming anymore. Right. So because of that, many people, when they hear about cybersecurity, they remember programming photo. No way, I'm not going in there, because you think everything about cybersecurity is programming. No, it is not. Okay, so you want to know your skill set. If you are somebody that doesn't like anything operational, or then you want to look for another area of cybersecurity that's not emphasizing programming. So as big, as massive as this field, look, I've been able to analyze and compress it into 3 different domains. And these are the 3 domains that we have in cybersecurity. And I'll give you a quick rundown of what each of them stands for. Number one, let me start with the operations side, right? Let's start from the left in no particular order. We have the operations side of cybersecurity. This is the domain that requires certain skills, programming skills, sometimes coding skills. You need to have some skills about coding to be able to function in the operations side of cybersecurity, right? You probably heard about the threat hunter. You've heard about some people that are they use certain skills, programming, coding, and things like that to perform their daily function. They are also cybersecurity people, but it's just that they are in the operations side of things, right? That is important for us to know. Now, another one is the cloud security. Everything is now going into the cloud right now. So what we are seeing currently, we have to consider that they are all built in a virtual platform, in a virtual world, that is in the cloud, in the computer, remotely somewhere. I don't want to go into some technical jargons, so that's why I'm trying to choose the right terminology that will not kind of shut you off this conversation. So many of these things are built on a server in a remote place. So that's the cloud security. So we have some group of people that kind of provision those servers those servers and the services running on them remotely. So that also still requires some level of coding and programming and things like that. But now, when we talk about the cybersecurity compliance or risk assessment, as we may call it, it's just like the name, right? It says compliance. When you talk about compliance, before you even talk about compliance, there must be some laws that you want people to conform to comply with, right? So the work of the IT security compliance analyst is to ensure that the organization and the people, they are doing things according to the laws that guide their business mission, right? Every organization that you want to think about, they are guided by a particular regulation or compliance body, right? So the work of the IT security compliance is to ensure that those organizations are doing things according to the body, the regulations that is guiding them. All right. So, and take for example, if you work in the healthcare industry, I believe the word HIPAA is not new to you. You have to be HIPAA compliant. In other words, that is the regulation that guides people in that particular field, right? So, so in that case, you want to ensure that you protect the data of your clients. You have to ensure that you pay attention to who have access to your clients' information. Take, for example, that is one out of so many things. If you go into the banking sector, insurance sector, or some other commercial things, they also have the laws that guide those area. So the compliance people, they understand the law, and it's just like thou shalt not steal. What are you doing, right? If the law says thou shalt not steal, now you are asking them, what are you doing to conform to the regulation that say thou shalt not steal? If you review what they are doing against what they ought to be doing, right, and there is going to be, if there is any discrepancies or a finding, okay, discrepancies, that is when you now advise them that according to this particular regulation, you are not compliant, and this is what you need to do based on what you have been told to do, right? So that's what that is. It doesn't require a lot about coding or programming. It's just about what you need to know to get into where you are going into, right? So that is that about the domain in the field of cybersecurity. Now, as lucrative as we may consider cybersecurity to be, we still have a lot of shortage in the field of cybersecurity, and the government is working ceaselessly to ensure that they are able to bridge some of this gap. And I'm going to quote the word of a lady, Deborah Hawley. Deborah Hawley happens to be a professor in the cybersecurity, or professor of cybersecurity at Brown University. This is what she has to say, right? He said, sometimes it's perceived that the only way of entering cybersecurity is through the technical door, right? You must be technically versed before you come into the field of cybersecurity. But what she says is that, but that's not the case. He said, whatever a person's talents with people, administration, management, education, or technology, there is almost certainly an aspect of cybersecurity for which their skills and experience are needed. Okay, that is what she said. That is, in any part of the walks of life that you find yourself, you can transition, you can bring those skill sets into the field of cybersecurity. That's what she's talking about. So that's to let you know that there is no fear in transitioning. The only thing that you just want to focus on is that you want to focus on the skill set that you're bringing in after you've determined what you want to do, transitioning into the field. Now, let's talk about the career pathway. Okay, what are the career pathways? How do you enter into the field of cyber security? Now, we say that entering the field of cybersecurity may seem daunting, but rest assured there are many pathways and on ramps to getting started. There is a wide range of positions within cybersecurity spanning every industry actor, which allows candidates to match their skills and experience to the position that best suits them. Now, I want to show you a tool that the federal government are using to kind of manage the demand and supply in the field of cybersecurity. It's called cybersec.org. I want to go first into the interactive map and show you what that looks like. Now, looking at this, for example, let me enlarge that. You see the map of United States. So in this map, it is color coded, right? The legends of the colors are also described on the right-hand side. What that is saying is that those states that you see that have deep blue color, they have between 25,000 and over 80,000 job openings in the field of cybersecurity. Whereas those states that seems to be almost all white, right? They have between 852 up to almost 3,000 job openings. So, which means in any state that you find yourself, there is job openings there in the field of cybersecurity. Now, not just only that, when you look at the national level, the cybersecurity job openings, we have over 700,000, over 750,000 job openings in the field of cybersecurity. And currently, we have about 1 million people working in the field of cybersecurity, right? Now, looking at that, it shows that the national average in terms of supply and demand ratio sits at 68%. So in other words, we need to pay attention to how we want to populate that field. I think the population of United States alone is about 32 million. I stand to be corrected. If anybody have the right figure, you can share that with me, right? You cannot imagine over just 1 million people, just a little above 1 million people are currently defending an economy, that rules the world. If I have the time, I can show you the threat map to tell you the dangerous, let me say threat map, to show you why we need a lot of people on board in this field. Maybe I should just choose the checkpoint. If you see this threat map, right, it shows you the map of the world, and in real time, as we are speaking right now, right, this is what is going on, right? So I think I would need to choose a particular threat map or checkpoint. I want to see if I can get, maybe this. Let me see. So basically what we want to achieve is that in real time, countries are attacking different countries in real time. And what I was looking for is that, look at this, it says the top attacked country is United States. It sits at 41%, right? So that's to tell you that these countries, these sectors in this country, they need to be defended. They need people to defend them. And you cannot imagine in a 30-something million economy or population, we only have about 1 million people. So that's why they believe that we are currently under served, basically. So we need people that come into this field to work, right? So, and then we have other information. Now, let's look at the career pathways. Now, talking about the career pathway, we have the entry level, mid-level, and advanced level, right? So for those of us that are saying, okay, so how much is the salary of somebody that is a cybersecurity analyst? Most of the time, you're going to get hired into your role at the mid-level, right, from experience. Let's say cybersecurity analyst. You can see that the average salary of a cybersecurity analyst is 109,000. And we have almost 40,000 job openings in that field, right? Or you can think about that as a cybersecurity consultant, right? A consultant, handless, right? And that's still like 92,000. So if you want to negotiate your salary, right, you can say the minimum salary of a cybersecurity analyst is 92,000, right? And it also depends on so many things, but I have seen a situation whereby somebody's first job in the field of cybersecurity, he started off with 150,000 per annum. These are real human beings, right? And if you care to know, I can give you their number and they call you, and if they feel comfortable, they will tell you, right? Not just one, not just two, a lot of people. So that being said, is that this is just an estimate, right, of the salaries of anyone that is coming into the field of cybersecurity. So to address the shortage of cybersecurity, we need to understand what is going on there and also be able to learn, right, and adapt our thought in that direction. So cybersecurity certification, a lot of people ask me, okay, after your training, what certification am I getting? The training that we offer is not certification focused. However, we provide resources for certification. Now, talking about certification, do I need certification? Yes, you need certification, and no, you don't need certification. Now, the reason why I say yes and no is because certification is important, that most of the time is not much emphasized, right? So depending on your, let me say, on your knowledge that you are bringing into the field, you'll be properly guided with regards to that. But eventually you will need certification. With regards to question about certification, we have different things that we want to talk about, but we won't be able to go into details with regards to those certification. But no doubt about it, cybersecurity is a certification-driven career, right? It's a certification-driven career in which you have a lot of certification that you need for you to function in that field, but it's not your starting point, right? Certification is not your starting point. Knowing the career that you want to get into, acquiring the skills in that field, that's your starting point, not certification. right? And that is for so many reasons, because your certification is time bound, right? So if you do the certification before you do the invest in the experience, it might take away from the time that you need to maintain your certification even when you get the job after, right? So that's why I would say certification is not your starting point, but rather acquiring the skill is your starting point. So let's think about what the employers are looking for. If any employer wants to hire anybody into this field, what are they looking for, right? Generally speaking, right? Generally speaking, employers, just like everyone, they are looking for somebody that have an experience. You want to repair your car, you don't give your car to somebody that look like a mechanic. You want to give that car to somebody who is a mechanic, right? That has an experience, right? So also employer, they are looking for somebody that can do the job, right? Experience. Now, the second thing, which is a good news, and that is where many people are actually missing it, is that the employer will tell you what they are looking for, okay, in form of a job description. So what I love to tell people is that before you get into the field, let's say you want to work in the field of cybersecurity compliance, right? Why not go and do a research on what are the skills that is required? What are the kind of, maybe you gather about 3 or 4 different job descriptions, analyze them, compare them, look at some of the top skills that is required. So you begin your learning from that point, okay? And then you put those skill set in your resume. As a matter of fact, you make your resume actually to be more experienced than you personally. In other words, your resume should contain what you know and what you are learning or what you want to do, right? So that when you push your resume out, you need to sit back and start catching up with what you have on your resume, okay? So job description, they are going to tell you, right? And that will guide you as to how you're going to put your resume together, okay? Very, very important. Also, skill set is required. If you can read and write, guess what? You can work in this field. If you need basic IT knowledge, okay, you really don't need a whole lot of information before you get your first job. Just basic knowledge, what is computer, what is networking, database, basic information that you learn and you keep learning on. Those are the things that will sponsor you into the career. And also you want to talk about certification and education. Now, for me, I begin to see that education has evolved beyond the 4 walls of university or college, right? You can learn something in 5 minutes, you can learn something in 10 minutes, and then you can market that skill on your resume, okay? Let's say, for example, you don't know anything about a particular software. Just go on Google or YouTube or something. How do I use this particular tool? And then you catch up with 10-minute video that will explain those things to you. You just learn something, right? And that is education, right? And education is very, very important in this field because that's the way you grow into the field of cybersecurity. You don't come in ready, but you come in with a growth mindset, the mindset that will sponsor you to make a gainful career success, right? Certification and education, and also you must be a team player, right? You must be able to fit into the team of people that you are working with. So I just want to talk briefly about how you can acquire the skills that you are talking about. How do you acquire the skill set? There are 5 major ways by which you can acquire skill set. You can change your career right here, right now. The first thing you want to do is when you identify the career which niche you want to go into, then identify the right training that will give you the information that you need. So in other words, you need to get trained. When you go for a boot camp, pay money to be trained in that field. When you get trained, you acquire the skills that is required. After that, you market the skills that you acquired, right? You market that skill. So when you market the skill in your resume, and then the recruiter saw your resume and they find out that, oh yeah, we want to give it to you and we want to give you an opportunity. You also need to apply for the position, right? And when you apply for the position, you also prepare for interview. And when you do all these things, the most important thing is that all things being equal, you get hired. The plateau sets in between the time you get trained and before you get hired, right? What have you been doing? Some people, they did the training, they didn't put their resume together. Okay, some people, they put the resume together, they did not apply for position. Some people, they apply for position, they did not prepare for interview, or they are not getting an interview, right? Some people, they are getting the interview, they felt discouraged. So before their opportunities show up, they shut down, right? So that's why it's important for you. When you get trained, your responsibility starts from there, right? So you prepare your resume, you apply for position, be ready for interview, and then you get hired along the line. How do you prepare for so many opportunities? There are so many things you can do, and we cannot overemphasize the need of you to be very dedicated to knowledge. You must come in with a desire to learn something new. Okay, you must be ready to study something new, learn something new. You also need support of people that are working in the field, that are doing similar things that you want to get into. You need to keep learning something new and train yourself, train your mind. You need to develop, upskill yourself. You need to skill up. That's what I would say. Skill up, work on certification. It's a new career, require a new terrain, new way of thinking, new way of behaving, right? So that is very, very, very important. And above all, you need what we call patience. Now, everything grow well in the hands of patience, because many people, they believe that, you know what, I want to quit my job right now and I want to do this training. How long will it take? It's going to take 8 weeks. So 8 weeks, at least 2 months. Okay, so maybe by July, August, I want to start working. It has worked before, but it's not written anywhere. So you need patience. So what you do not do, right, is that you don't want to control what is not within your jurisdiction. That is, you have done what is required for you to do by training yourself, resume, interviewing, and things like that, but you don't determine when you get hired. So many people, they believe that they're in control of when they get hired into a particular role. And that's why they feel like, okay, 1 month after, 2 months after my training, I'll get a job the 3rd month. And now, if it didn't happen for them 2 months after, they discard that. That's what actually give birth to dabblers, right? So you have to be patient. Okay, I remember one of my students, it's not just one, but there's this particular, 2 of them actually, that gave me a very, very encouraging text. And I will paraphrase one of the texts that one of them sent to me. It said, having gone through your training, mentioned that particular month, that 6 months after I landed my first job. Thank you. He said, one thing that you keep telling me is that the last thing I need to do is to give up. I never give up. Anytime I go for interview, it is your voice that keep ringing in my head, right? So what that means is that after the training, all the students, they have access to the video training, right? Just to keep replaying. He went back into those video training and keep listening to that, to the point that he knows exactly at what time which video will tell you what. So anytime he has interview, he reviews those materials and things like that. When I received that text, right, I was shattered. I was crying actually, right? Because it really touched my heart. That is one out of so many testimonies, right, that I've received also. Another one shared the testimony, say, you know what? You have changed my life. And this is somebody that had no high school degree. But the only thing he has is that he has the desire for a change. So when he got the job, now between 4 months, January and April of that particular year, he had received about 7 different offers and keep receiving more. Because what he did was that he settled down and reviewed. It took him extra 2 months after the training. He settled down and reviewed the training again. And then that is the power of patience, right? So it might take, there is this particular saying, he said, if I have 100 years to cut down a tree, I will spend 90, maybe 90 years to sharpen the edge of my sword, that the remaining 10 years will be too much for me to cut down the tree. So what that means is that the preparation, the patience to sharpen yourself, to prepare yourself into a new career is very, very essential. Okay, so you don't want to rush into things. So some people, they want to rush into things to the extent that they said, I want you to do the interview for me. I will pay you to do the interview. I will pay you to do this. And then they got into the job, they could not perform. They had to like reconsider the decision to hire them. You don't want to find yourself in that particular field. And I do not encourage that at all. We train people to know. We support people to be successful. And once you know, our job is done, right? So that is very, very important for us, right? As we journey. I know I've talked too much today, right? But it's the goal of this is just to encourage us to learn something new. I don't know if you have any question. Does anyone have any question before I talk to you about Proving Academy? Do you have any question at all? Anyone? If anyone is talking, I cannot hear them. So feel free to interrupt me anytime if you have any question. So let me talk to you about my Proving Academy. Proving Academy was established with the passion of equipping the next generation of IT professionals with relevant tools for career advancement. And we help people bridge the gap between unemployment and employment just by introducing them to affordable training. Okay, so our training has 2 tiers, right? The first one is live online mentoring program, and the other one is online learning management system, right? And I will explain what each of them is. So the live online mentoring program is a well-crafted, career-centered cybersecurity training that makes you relevant in the field of IT and cybersecurity space. The live online mentoring program, also known as LOMP, that is what we do every time, similar to this, every Saturday and Mondays, right? Because this next cohort will be conducted twice a week, Saturdays and Mondays, right? Saturday, 3 hours, 10 a.m. till 1 p.m. And then Mondays will be in the evening, 7 p.m. to 9 p.m., right? So that is live online program when you're going to have a live trainer, training you, and every training session will learn something new. Okay, so that is our LOMP, our online learning management system. That is the we have a learning resources for every of our registered students. They have access to over 21,000 learning resources. This is our learning platform, and all our students, they have unlimited free access to over 21,000 video trainings. So once you enroll in the training, apart from attending the live online training, the assignment we give to you is to tell you what you need to learn that will buttress what we just taught you. We understand from this platform. And on this platform is very rich, okay? Very, very rich, and you have unlimited access to that. So that is our OLMS, that is Online Learning Management System. So you coming into this training, you are paying for 2 massive training resources, IT resources, at a very huge discount, right? So that is what you stand to gain coming into this field. So the next cohort is starting May 27th, okay? That's when we're going to be having the first lecture, right? And it's going to run twice a week. So we're going to be having 8 contact training sessions, right? 8 contact training sessions that will translate to about 40 hours of training for you. And each contact days, we're going to be learning something new. So you cannot afford to miss any of those training days because you are learning something new. However, we understand that we are all busy people. We have other things that are also competing for our attention. However, every training session are recorded. So all our students, they have access to the recordings for each section. So once you're done with that class, you can still go back and replay it again so that you have better understanding of what we are talking about. It's also going to help you in learning more, right? The tuition is this ridiculous amount of $2,000, very, very affordable, right? In the sense that we know that many people do not offer what we are offering to people, and they are charging more. So that's why I believe that the tuition is very, very affordable for you. And also, we allow instrumental payments, right? You're allowed to make the payment twice, right? And that will allow you to be able to have time to come in and also breathe while you're preparing for the next payment. So all payment are to be concluded before the class ends, right? The method of payment is also on the screen, Zelle to that phone number, and the number you have on the screen, you please copy that number. You can send the text WhatsApp for any question or information after this training, okay? Or send an email to that number, okay? And we'll be able to attend to your question, right? So please, before you go today, I want to throw this out there. Before you go today, if you want access, if you need access to this video, right, you want to listen to that again, right, make sure you drop your email, right? Drop your email in the chat room, and then we will send you the recording so that you can listen to that or share that with any of your friends that may be interested in this training. So let me wrap up. Does anyone have any question? Feel free to ask any question if you do. So just a quick review of what's
I have a question.
all right, go for it, Mr. Your daily below. Yeah, please.
Okay. The within this period, do you think that someone can, be competent enough to work within the period of between the 19th, 27th of May to 19th of
Within
June?
those 8 contact days, right? That
Yeah.
will you be confident to
Yeah.
say you can walk, right?
Yeah.
Was that your question?
Yes.
Very good question. Now, you have access to everything that you need, to make you can start working 1 week after, right? But it depends on how much information you are ready to consume that is relevant for you to launch in there. We all learn at different pace, you understand, right? Some people, it takes them 1 month, 2 months to actually digest something before they actually make sense of it. Some people, they can run at a fast pace. So I think that question is more focused on the individual skill set, right?
Okay.
So if you have because you have access to all the resources, right? So if you can move at a very good pace and then consume the necessary information, why not? There's nothing stopping you from doing that. Okay.
Okay. Secondly, do you help or recommend people to get in maybe any job after the person is trained or after the person understands the whole stuff? Can you help somebody get a job or recommend somebody or a company where somebody can easily get a job and start from there? Is there anything like that?
Okay, so now I believe you are asking about if we have a ready-made job somewhere,
Yes.
and once you get training, I will just say, manager, this is the person for you, right? So now we do not throw our weight behind that. We do not market our training based on that because to be honest, we are not employment agency, we are training agency. However, we have some recruiters that reach out to us, right? That, okay, this is the job that I have. Do you have anybody in your cycle that can fit into this job? At that point, we push it out to all our students, right? And say, okay, here's an opportunity. But the frequency is not every time. I've seen a situation that many of our students, even many of them, we are working in the same company, right? And an employment opportunity opened up in my company, I just threw it out, or somebody else, because after the training, all the students, they are part of a WhatsApp group where we kind of share information, right? So some people, they share information about opportunities in their companies, and many people have been able to pick jobs up from there. I mean, more than 4 or 5 of my students were working in the same company, even part of the same team, as a result of this information. But it's not like a guarantee that if you finish
Right.
this training, you are guaranteed that you will get a job, right? Because it's not something that we control, right? We control the
That's fine.
training, but we do not control the marketing, right? But we
That's
can
fine.
support in any way that you feel you need, confidence-wise and things like that. Yeah, sure.
That's fine. That's fine. That's fine.
All
Thank
right.
you.
All right. So if like if you need any particular question or you want a copy of this video training, drop your email and then we'll be able to share that information with you. Okay.
Okay. Okay. Thank you.
All right. Thank you so very much. So talking about our curriculum. So the live online mentoring program curriculum, that's to tell you what we're going to be learning every week, right? Every contact days. The week one, we're going to be talking about computer technology, talking about what is computer, what are the types of computer we have, things that you need to know, because the journey into the field of cybersecurity begins with the basic knowledge of IT, right? So the first two contact dates, we want to lay that foundation, okay, of establishing information about IT, right? And at that point, you feel very, very comfortable about what network is, what firewall is, what port number, what this and that, and understand. So those are the things that we're going to emphasize, the first 2 weeks. Then starting from week 3, we're easing into the field of cybersecurity by getting ourselves introduced to some terminologies, that will be needed, in the field of cybersecurity. So when you hear the word, for example, compliance, what does it mean? Or integrity, confidentiality, what does it mean? Things like that. We want to explain those things so that you feel comfortable, hearing those things or dealing with those information. And then we move on and on to talking about the risk management. And at that point, we come with some job related projects and scenarios to make you feel comfortable that what you're learning aligns with what is needed out there, so that there's nothing more discouraging when you spend so much time learning something that is not relevant in the field, right? But we are in the field, we know what is obtainable in the field, and then you are being taught what is needed in the field, so that you know that what you are being taught is very, very relevant, okay, in the field. So that is important. And that's the way the training is kind of structured, to guide you jealously into those fields. And there are so many things that I want to catch up with along the line and things like that. But we learn every contact days and things like that.
Please, I have a question.
All right, Ejide, right? Ejide, did I pronounce that right?
Yes, you did.
All right, go for it, sir.
Yeah, I wanted to ask, can I major in one domain? As we have the 3 domains, the operation, the compliance, and the cloud. So I wanted to know, can I major in just one?
Absolutely. As a matter of fact, what I've not told you, right? Maybe I've not gotten to that, or maybe skipped that. Thank you for that question. Is that this training focus more on the compliance side of cybersecurity, or I would say that like 80% of the content focus more on the compliance side of cybersecurity. However, the 20% is still going to introduce you into cloud security and operation. And we are talking about where the two other domains, overlap with compliance, right? So that when you find yourself in an environment, you understand what the operation people and the cloud security people are doing, looking at it from the compliance perspective. So it's majorly focused on the compliance side, which is a safe landing for everyone. Does that answer your question?
Yeah, thank you very much. And I also have another question.
Go for it, please.
Yeah, after this training, what next? Do we go for a certification exam or?
Yeah, very good question. Also, after the training, think about it this way, right? I want to be an engineer or a doctor. The first thing we do is that you go through 6 or 7 years in school, right? And then before
Yeah.
you can able make sense of any certification that you need to actually get into the job field, right? So that's the same structure that we have. After this 8 weeks training that confer on you the understanding of what cybersecurity is all about and what you need to do, we even talk about some certification that you need, right? Now, getting into the cybersecurity field or want to get in there, you need certification. then we can point to, okay, this certification will be good for you. And if you have also other resources, right, we make it available for you. Another good thing is that even our training platform has the training resources for majority of all this certification you are talking about. So, which means you have resources already to prepare you for any of this certification. Okay. So after the training, you're looking for a job while we are doing the training, and then you do things concurrently that way. So does that capture your question?
Yeah, thank you very much. Thank
You're
you.
welcome. You're welcome. You're welcome. So, any other question? Any other question? So, okay. So, in summary, right, we have talked about a majority of things that help us understand what cybersecurity is all about. Okay, and I believe at this point you feel a little bit lightened, talking when you hear the word cybersecurity. It's something for everyone. If you feel comfortable that this is what you can do or what you want to do, why not? Hop in and let's get this work started. And then we'll be able to guide you jealously into this field of cybersecurity. So I so much cherish the time that you guys spent with us today to explain things to you, and we are looking forward to be the voice that guide you into this new career. Even if you have any question about any career at all, right? If it's not our domain, we partner with other people, can point you in the right direction when it has to do with transitioning into a new career. Okay, so that's very, very important. Other than that, does anybody have any question? I see Valentine's mic is off. Wondering if you're talking. Do you have any question, Valentine?
Okay, no. Really, I was trying to change this because my name is Valentine, really, not Ayo. My friend used my
Oh,
system. My friend used my system for a meeting, so I didn't change it before I joined you.
okay, okay.
So I just changed it to my ring, and now my name is Valentine.
Okay. Thank you so very much, Valentine. So remember, you know the number to call, right? And also, anything that you feel will help you in your career, know the number to call, right? And
All
thank
right.
you again. I really appreciate everyone for calling in. So don't forget to drop your email if you need information about this webinar. We're going to share that with you.
I
Okay.
have dropped mine.
All right. Thank everyone once again.
Yeah, thank you. Bye.
All right. Bye, everyone.